The 7 deadly sins God hates. Most Christians commit them daily. Deep dive into Proverbs 6:16-19. There is a list in the Bible, a list so terrifying, so specific, so revealing, that God himself said, "These 7 things I hate, not dislike, not avoid them, but I hate." Most Christians don't even know what these 7 sins are. Worse, many believers commit them every single day while still thinking they're spiritually safe. But today we're going to expose them, not as a lecture, but through a story of a man who almost lost everything because he didn't know the sins God hated. His name was Daniel, and this is his story. Daniel was the kind of Christian everyone admired. He served in church, posted scriptures online, and gave advice to everyone who needed it. But behind closed doors, Daniel was breaking the very commandments God said he hated the most. It all began on a warm Sunday morning. Daniel sat in church, smiling, nodding, lifting his hands in worship. But in his heart, something dark had begun to grow. Not a demon, not witchcraft, but something far more subtle, a seed of the first sin God hates, a proud look. 1. A proud look, Proverbs 6:17. Daniel had begun to believe he was better than other Christians. He didn't say it out loud, but in his heart, he judged everyone. He whispered to himself, "I'm more spiritual than they are. I'm more serious than these people. They don't pray like me. They don't give like me." He didn't know it yet. But this proud look was the beginning of his fall. Pride is always the first sin in the door. It comes quietly, secretly, and once it enters, the other 6 follow. And Daniel was already on the path. 2. A lying tongue. Later that week, Daniel got a call from his boss. "Did you finish the report I asked for?" Daniel froze. He hadn't even started it. But instead of admitting it, he replied, "Yes, I'm almost done." A lie, a small one, but still a lie. His heart beat fast. He told himself, "It's not a big deal. Everyone lies a little, but every lie, big or small, creates a crack in the soul." Proverbs 6:17 says God hates a lying tongue, because lies destroy trust, purity, and truth. But Daniel didn't see the danger yet. He thought he was still okay with God. 3 hands that shed innocent blood. Daniel wasn't a murderer, but there are many ways to shed blood. One of them is destroying someone's name. And one day, Daniel overheard 2 co-workers talking about John, a colleague everyone found strange. Daniel joined the conversation and casually said, "I heard John got in trouble at his last job. Something about stealing." It wasn't true, just something Daniel heard somewhere, but his words spread like wildfire. John lost respect, lost trust, and almost lost his job. Daniel didn't know. But with his words, he had shed innocent blood. Force heart that devises wicked imaginations. Daniel went home that night thinking he was still a good Christian. But slowly, his thoughts had become corrupted. He began imagining scenarios where he was praised, promoted, honored better than everyone else. He plotted how he could rise faster, how he could outshine others, how he could get revenge on a co-worker who annoyed him. He didn't act on these thoughts, but they lived in him. And God sees not just actions, but the imaginations of the heart. Daniel had no idea he was walking into a trap of his own mind. Feet that are quick to run into mischief. It happened on a Friday night. Daniel's friends invited him to a gathering. Not sinful on the surface, but Daniel knew what usually happened there. Gossip, drinking, mockery, compromise. His spirit whispered, "Don't go." But his feet moved faster than his conscience. He got dressed, he went. And that night, Daniel laughed at dirty jokes, joined in conversations that tore people down, and allowed his spirit to become contaminated. Feet that rush to mischief rarely feel the ground they walk on. Guards a false witness who speaks lies. The next Monday, Daniel's boss asked him a simple question. Why didn't John finish the task he was given? Daniel could have said, "I don't know." Instead, he shrugged and replied, "He's always slow. I think he's not focused." Another lie, another false witness. John was disciplined at work because of Daniel's words. The innocent paid for Daniel's quick mouth. One who sows discord among brethren. This is the sin God detests the most. The one who divides, the one who gossips, the one who spreads subtle poison. And this was where Daniel's journey hit its peak. One afternoon in the church WhatsApp group, 2 members disagreed on a topic. Daniel stepped in, not to bring peace, but to stir the fire. He added sarcastic comments, he twisted words. He made subtle insults, he mocked both sides. That week, the group fractured. People stopped attending. Friendships were broken. Daniel had sowed discord in the house of God, and heaven took notice. The turning point that night, Daniel had a dream. He saw himself walking on a narrow bridge over a deep black ocean. One by one, 7 dark shadows appeared behind him. Pride, lying, slander, evil thoughts, mischief, false witness. Discord, they followed him, and the more he walked, the narrower the bridge became, until finally, he slipped. As he fell into the darkness, a voice thundered, "You have walked in the things I hate." Daniel woke up drenched in sweat, his heart pounding, his spirit trembling. For the first time, he saw himself clearly. He had been living like a Christian on the outside, but committing the 7 deadly sins on the inside. He broke down and cried. He begged God for mercy. He repented deeply. He apologized to John. He confessed to his boss. He made peace in the church group. He humbled himself, and slowly, God restored him. Daniel's story is a mirror, because the truth is, most believers commit these 7 sins without noticing. Pride, lies, destruction with words, evil thoughts running to sin, false accusations, sowing discord. If this message is opening your eyes, hit like right now. If God is speaking to your heart, subscribe so you don't miss the next story. And share this video with someone who needs this truth today. Now let's finish Daniel's story. Months later, Daniel became a new man. Not perfect, but purified. He guarded his words. He watched his thoughts. He refused gossip. He humbled himself. He walked slowly, carefully, spiritually. He finally understood. It's not always the big sins that destroy a believer. Sometimes it's the small ones that God hates the most. And Daniel learned the secret. When you walk in what God loves, you will never fall into what God hates.